The carrot and the stick as a form of motivation has always been considered the most effective and pretty much the default methodology that is used to get people to be more effective or more productive. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how external motivation, specifically in the form of incentives, kills creativity and innovation. Stick around to find out why. My name is Eddie Boertes and I'm the founder of Leadershift. I work with leaders and teams to build an organizational culture where people thrive. Now, I want you to imagine that you're invited to participate in an experiment. You are seated at a table next to a wooden wall and you're given a list of materials that you can see on your screen right now. That's a candle, some drawing pins or tacks, and a book of matches. You are then asked to find a solution whereby you put the candle or attach the candle to the wall without the wax dripping onto the table below. I'd like you to think for a moment how you would solve this particular challenge. Many people start out by trying to tack the candle to the wall, but that doesn't work. What people then try is they try and melt the side of the candle and they try and glue it or adhere it to the wall, but that doesn't work either. And then usually after about 5 to 10 minutes, individuals stumble on the solution that you can see on your screen right now. You see, the challenge for most individuals is to overcome a cognitive bias called functional fixedness. When people first look at the box, they see it as a single function object. They merely see the box as a container for the drawing pins. Most participants fail to see that the box itself can be used as a shelf or a platform for the candle to stand on. Our children are way better at solving this problem than adults are. Creativity comes way easier to them. A den can be made from random objects like 2 chairs and a blanket. Sticks can become lightsabers and a cardboard box can become a canoe in the middle of the living room. 5 and 6-year-olds are even less likely to suffer from functional fixedness than 7 and 8-year-olds. And by the time we become adults, we are so stuck in a rigidity of thinking that sees objects only for their intended design and purpose. There is a comfort and a predictability in repeating tasks in a way that fits previous patterns of behavior that has proven to work before. So what happens when you give a conceptual challenge like this, where it requires thinking that diverges from the known path, and then you offer individuals rewards to find quicker solutions? Sam Glucksberg, a psychologist at Princeton University, tested this a number of decades ago by timing how quickly two groups of participants solved the candle problem. He told the first group that he was timing their work merely to establish norms for how long it took for this kind of problem or challenge to be solved. But he offered the second group incentives. If the individuals were in the top 25% of all individuals tested for speed and time, they received $5 as a reward. If they were the fastest out of all of the individuals tested, they received $20 as a reward. Now, taking into consideration that this was done a number of decades ago, and if you adjusted for inflation, this is a pretty decent incentive for just a few minutes of work. So how much faster do you think the incentivized group came up with the solution? Here's the kicker. On average, it took them 3.5 minutes longer to complete the challenge. Yep, you heard that right. It took them on average 3.5 minutes longer to complete the challenge. This flies in the face of conventional thinking about how motivation works. An incentive that is supposed to clarify thinking and sharpen creativity ends up clouding thinking and dulling creativity. Why is this? Because rewards by their very nature narrow our focus. They work extremely well when we can see the path before us and we know the solution already. We can get laser focused, we can stare ahead, and we can increase our speed. But this kind of incentive is terrible for work that requires us to find new uses for old objects, because it narrows our focus and it blinkers the wide view. The same thing seems to happen for challenges that require creating something new and that are not necessarily about solving an existing problem. Teresa Amabile is a professor at the Harvard Business School, and she's done a lot of research into how these kinds of rewards affect the creative process. In a fascinating study, she and two of her colleagues recruited 25 professional artists from all over the United States who had produced work that was both commissioned and non-commissioned. These artists were then asked to choose 10 commissioned works and 10 non-commissioned works. These works were then given to a panel of experts who were asked to rate the works on both creativity and technical ability. Here's the surprising results. The panel overwhelmingly rated the commissioned works as significantly less creative than the non-commissioned works. The technical ability was rated pretty much the same. And more than this, the artists said that they felt way more constrained when they were doing commissioned works than they were working on non-commissioned works. In fact, one of the artists who they interviewed said the following: "Not always, but a lot of the time, when you are doing a piece of work for somebody else, it becomes more work than it becomes joy. When I work for myself, there is this pure joy of creating, and I can work through the night and not even notice it. On a commissioned piece of work, you have to check yourself. You've got to be careful to do what the client wants." The bottom line then is that for tasks that require following an existing formula through to its logical conclusion, then extrinsic rewards can be very effective. Like factory workers, for example, that are engaged in repetitive tasks. But in a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world with thinking that demands flexible problem solving, inventiveness, or conceptual understanding, these kinds of rewards can be dangerous. People that are offered contingency or if-then rewards often have a hard time of seeing the periphery and crafting original solutions. There seems to be a gap between what science says and what business does. If you want people to be more creative, pay them well, get out of their way, create an environment that fosters learning, creativity, and innovation, and then help them to connect meaning and purpose to the work that they do. Check out my last video where I talk about 7 practical skills for leaders to create an environment where this kind of learning and innovation can take place. That's all that I have for today, folks. If you found the content useful, please like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for more tips on how to build better teams and how to build an organizational culture where people thrive. Until next time, cheers.